in my never-ending search for a new angle. What do you reckon of this one? Nice. Diagonals. Nice. I want to test out this guy one, and I thought, well, I'll turn on the camera and do that. I kind of like the profile of it, and it means that I could do cool designs because it's a lot of space. But as always, functionality is number one. If it ain't functional, it's not nice to use, then it doesn't matter about the aesthetics, isn't it? What are we drinking after I set up that nice angle? We're drinking. I don't want caffeinated. I'm fasting, so I'm really hungry. So what I don't want is a combination of hunger and caffeine keeping me awake too much. Which means what exactly? What does it mean? What does it mean? Black tea. Black tea? Black tea. Yeah, let's go with black tea. I feel like some black tea. Consort Smile just looked at me. A nice fruity number. Nice fruity number to end this evening. Oh, see? That's what happens. You pick your tea. Not in there. What have we got? Wildwood Black. I don't feel like Wildwood. I feel like a fruity one. One sec. Changed it up. We've got Push Button Smile. That's going to keep me up, isn't it? I'm going to have a light brew. I'm not going to have too many brews. Wow. Deep raisins and gin and raisins. I can't be bothered with a knife. I pick. See, if this was on the Mayleaf channel, people would be. I'd probably get a pick out. People would be like, you can't rip it. Yeah, I can just peel it off. It's all right. You can do it. But that didn't break much. You see, all good. Just want to test out this guy one and have a warm drink before I hit the hay tomorrow. I've got a meeting at 7 a.m. tomorrow with the tech team. One of the main tech honcho. He lives in Melbourne, so that means we've always got to think about timelines. So yeah, got an early meeting with him. But what I thought I would talk about tonight, is how I nearly bankrupt the company. Oh my God, the smell. Sorry. Oh. Smells of stuff. Smells of like, I just keep seeing like antique woods and raisins, but dunked into like a fizzy gin soju, soda-y bit of like 7-Up or lemonade as well. Yeah, how I nearly bankrupt the company. And I actually did shoot this story before, but I shot it whilst lying in bed. And I looked back at the footage and I thought, okay, there's brutal honesty and then there's going too far. You don't want to see me lying in bed. I mean, I wasn't lying, I was lying in my infrared sauna in bed, so I was kind of sweaty. Is it weird that you're looking at me in bed? That's what's going on in my head right now. I look back and I just thought like, there's got to be some, what's the word? I'm losing words, man. There's got to be some moderation here. There's got to be some level of discernment about what you are putting out. You can't just put out any randoms. You can't just turn on the camera absolutely anywhere. You got to it looked a bit weird. So I'll tell the story again about how I nearly bankrupt the company. For those of you who are interested in it. Cheers, everybody. So good. That right level of woods, minerals, sweetness, and that fermented nature of this specialty, push button smile. What was I saying? Yeah, but just briefly as an aside, I hate vlogs that like show day in the life style things where you have like somebody like walking out the door, shutting the door. We know that you open the door, come back and pick up your camera, right? Or like you see that shot of someone, like the camera's on the floor and people walk past the camera to go into a restaurant or go into their hotel room. Again, we know that you set that up, you got the framing, you did a few walkthroughs to check, and then, you know, nobody's fooled by that. And then when you go into the room or whatever, you still have to kind of rush out and hope your camera hasn't been nicked and grab it. Like, it just feels like, I know, in a way it works, different angles, but man, it just feels like, yeah. So anyway, and I felt a bit like that when I was filming in bed. It was just me because I was cold and I went into an infrared blanket out. Anyway, point is, nah, there has to be something that's left on the cutting room floor. Anyway, I just swallowed a tea leaf. So how I nearly bankrupt the company. 2021, just after COVID. So every business had to survive COVID and that insanity, you know. Let's not talk about COVID. Yeah. But it was difficult. Anyway, then we get like a letter from the taxman saying that they're going to audit our company. And I had kind of predicted this, right? I remember during COVID, I was saying the government's giving out all these handouts to try and, like, you know, keep businesses afloat, whatever, during the insanity of the lockdowns. But they're going to come back and get their money at some point. That ain't a freebie. They're coming for us. And sure enough, like, you know, immediately HMRC saying, we want to audit your company. So I was like, yeah, whatever, okay, it's fine. But, you know, there's always this like thing ticking over in your head is like, is everything going to be okay? You know, is everything good? So obviously, like a few weeks before, I like, you know, gather all the accounts, get it all like looked at and just sort of just spend some time looking at it. And for those of you who don't know, we also have, as part of the group, the May group, a medical clinic called Acumedic, and I'm the owner of Acumedic, and I'm in charge of that, so it's my business as well. And we offer Chinese medical treatments, herbs, massage, and it's all supervised by a GMC registered doctor. So it basically means it's like got the stamp of approval as a proper conventional doctor, who also is trained in Chinese medicine. So it's like that bridge between East and West, just making sure that there's a good communication between the two, because this is about complementary integrated medicine, not alternative medicine. Anyway, whole other thing. But the point is that we've got this clinic and we've had it for, well, my parents started it, so we had it since like the 70s and 80s, so a long time. Anyway, there is a rule in tax law which states that you do not need to charge, listening up for my daughter, you do not need to charge sales tax. So like in UK, it's called VAT, and it's 20%, right? You do not need to charge sales tax if you're offering a medical service which has been supervised by a rubber stamped, proper GMC registered doctor. And so we never charge sales tax on top of our fees for services. And that has been going, well, I can't remember, but I seem to remember my dad talking about this in like the 90s or whatever. Anyway, point is, I can't quite remember the time, but anyway, it's been a long time. And so I was just like looking through it and saying, yeah, okay, we're charging tax properly, la, 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 la. And I thought, I'll just double check the law, just double check. And that law is still in place. But then there was a little like asterisk or something in the legal text, which then I looked further and I started to research, and it said that there was a case that the HMRC, which is the UK Her Majesty's or His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, like the tax man, tax woman, tax person, that they took a doctor, GMC registered, conventional doctor, let's say, to court because they wanted him to pay or charge sales tax on acupuncture treatment. And he argued, no, I'm within the law, I don't need to. And they argued that no, because acupuncture isn't, well, it's still recognized by the WHO and it's still recommended by NICE, which is like this, this agency that recommends treatments. But because it was considered to be not within the spectrum of conventional medicine, he needed to charge sales tax to his clients on it. Anyway, he lost the case, and that set a precedent that meant that every other company that was offering the same services, even if it was supervised by a conventional doctor, needed to charge sales tax. You can imagine, I was just gone. I was like, oh shit. What? We should have been charging sales tax. And I can't remember when that case law came into place, but it was many, many years. I think it was decades before, because we've been running this business for so long, we just let it run, like that's how it was. Anyway, so I found out basically that we hadn't been charging sales tax for many, many years, and that therefore technically we needed to charge that tax, or we needed to give 20% of our income to the taxman. That was not a fun day for me. It was really not a fun day. It was super stressful. I was like, oh, you're kidding me. Oh my God. And like my father, as I said in another video, my father passed away quite suddenly. So I kind of took over the business, and I just sort of assumed, never assume, makes an ass out of you and me. I assumed that like we were all, like everything was checked. Now, of course, I should have gone and checked all the laws again and just double checked, regularly. And that's the key lesson here, because we then had to like grovel to the tax man. So then you give a choice, like, what do you do? Like, you know that they're coming. Do you think you're going to get away with it? Right? And then it's like, no, we have to say something. We have to talk about it. We have to tell them. And in the UK, I can't remember the specifics, but in UK law, there's like, if they find a mistake, then there are sort of different levels of penalty, right? So the first level is like the least bad level is, it was a genuine mistake, and you found out about it and you immediately informed us without us asking you. Just, I made a mistake, declare it, hands up, sorry. And it was a mistake that was clearly an oversight and not something intentional. And then there is mistakes that are like oversights, but you only declared it because you knew that we were going to find out. And then there are oversights that are clearly intentional. Like this was not like a lapse in like, in your thoroughness, but was an intentional mistake. And then of course there's the mistakes that are intentional and that were not admitted and discovered by the taxman. So there's different levels, and depending upon which level the taxman or person determines is the level of your error or your activity, they then charge a penalty, which is like a percentage of how much is owed, and that penalty is very from a small percentage, like 10%, up to huge percentages. Or they can also charge no penalty. But basically they've got a wide range of penalties, and also they can go back to claim taxes by a certain amount of years, up to 20 years, I think it is. So they can go back up to 20 years and say, you need to pay us that tax plus that penalty, and for every day that you're not paying it, you need to charge. We charge you interest. So basically, I was in a situation where I was like, this was not intentional. This wasn't like an oversight. But if they determined that it was, then they could go back 20 years and claim 20% of the income to pay them, plus interest, plus penalties. That's it. Forget it. I would basically be, the business would be bankrupt for sure. No way, not even close. And everything that everything that my family had been working for decades would, in a flash, be taken away, and I would have nothing. I mean, I still have my home, but essentially I would, which I know is a lot more than a lot of people have. So, granted, I would still have something, but basically everything that we had worked for to build, all of our staff, all of our team, they would all have to lose their jobs. Everything would have to stop. It was so stressful. I mean, it was like major stress levels, huge stress levels. In fact, I remember shooting a video, I think it was a Young Gushu 2021 video, and it had just, like the saga had just finished at that point. So just to finish it off, it ended up that, we obviously told the HMRC what had happened. They applied a penalty. They applied the level which was like, we told them, so we came clean, but only because we knew that we were being inspected. They went back 5 years, and they charged us penalty and interest. It cost us something in the region of about £700,000, which is nearly $1 million that I had to find from somewhere. It was like I was messed up for many, many weeks trying to deal with that, and then messed up for many, many months trying to figure out how to get this money and always being charged interest. It was killer situation. There are ranges of difficulties in life, but from a monetary point of view, it was a tough one, and it was tough because we survived COVID. Like we'd gotten through it, and we'd tried to try to run a responsible business and make enough margins so that we could have some savings left over. That's wiped out. Just got wiped out. Everything got wiped out in this one instance. But anyway, at the point where I found out that we were just going to be able to scrape through and keep going, that's when I shot the Young Gushu 2021 video. And I think in that video I said it's been a tough week. I'll put a clip up.
Boy, do I need this session. This week has been one of the hardest weeks that I can remember ever in my life. Not going to get into it, but man, the amount of stress. I felt like I wanted to crawl into a hole and just give up everything. It was very stressful. I feel like I've done many rounds with a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah, so that's how I nearly bankrupt the company. And the lesson here is never assume, always double check. And so one rule in life is, if the government gives you money, they're going to come wanting it. So they will do everything to try to get money. Life, death, and taxes, right? And yeah, we can have a whole debate about taxes another day, possibly. Obviously, got opinions about that, but it's I took it hard because it was my responsibility. It was on my watch. And I can make excuses about the fact that I inherited the company and it wasn't like I didn't make those rules and et cetera, but point is, you take your eye off the ball and there will be wolves at the door. So if you're running a business, then just double check all the assumptions that you made, especially when it comes to the wonderful people in the tax office. Anyway, this guy won. Let's quickly give it a test. I did notice a bit of a dribble. I think it's a dribbler. Do it slow. Yeah, you see? Did you see that? Didn't even have to do it. Test. Just pour slowly. Yeah, that ain't good, is it? Yeah, pointless. You got to pour fast, otherwise it ain't happening. And for that reason, this is a no go. Again, things may look good on the surface, but when you test them, function just ain't there. All right, enough bedtime stories. Hopefully no nightmares.